I think I would invite Mr. Sailendra. So Sailendra, I understand so you are the data person, and I mean I read through some pages of your book, and I look forward to reading the rest of the book on the making money out of data, and because it comes with this. Show as we finish it up, I definitely look forward to downloading this one. So what I would like to understand, we'd like to understand is, as we mentioned, like data is the new oil, and you are in like top 50 global tech advisors, and one of the key CIOs in the planet right this moment into predictive analysis, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So what is your pick into today's, what is your view into today's topic? Just your own opinion.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bannerjee. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, please go.
Good stuff. Okay, so thank you very much. I think when you mentioned data is the new oil, then machine learning and analytics is the engine behind it, and that's what I usually say. That if you don't have the analytics component, you don't have the machine learning component of that, then that new oil is not going to drive or is not going to take you where you need to be. And if you take this example of, or if you look at Industry 4.0, the most important aspect of Industry 4.0 is machine learning, analytics, and how that data is interpreted, read, and then you quickly take some decisions in real time, and then respond back to the world. And I take that statement around AI, where people are really wanting to know what is AI, and I usually say AI is mimicking human intelligence, and human intelligence which is already, so mimicking human intelligence and behavior is what is AI. And to get to that level, what you need is information, and if you try to correlate that with what's happening with the human intelligence, how humans behave, how humans interact, you look at stuff, you hear, and you sense, and that's what, then that information is then fed to your brain, and your brain quickly takes a decision, and it responds back, coming back to you to say, this is what you should be doing. You should be responding back in speech, or you should be taking an action. Similarly, machines or in an AI environment, you will do exactly the same, where you're bringing in the data in structured, semi-structured, or unstructured format, which is then ingested, and it's thought through in your brain, in the machine learning brain or the analytics brain, which then takes decision in nanoseconds to say what needs to be returned back, what needs to be the action that needs to be taken. And that's how a complete end-to-end AI responds to mimicking human intelligence and human behavior. And as you said, data is the new oil. I'll say data is the new blood, or data is the feed that goes through all the components of the body. And it is the brain, which is machine learning, AI, analytics, machine learning and analytics, that actually drives that. The difference between in this environment of artificial intelligence and human intelligence is that humans cannot ingest data from machines, whereas machines can. So they are much more accurate compared to humans, because we cannot take in text data, we can't take in machine data coming from a refrigerator or coming from a car, but machines can, and they can make sense out of it as well. So it is far more intelligent and far more easier to take that environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I really like this word, the data is the new blood. That's the new word probably you coined right here. So I'd like to know more about the predictive analysis. Frankly, what I want to know from you, being an expert, is how do I make money from my own data? I put in a lot of data in social media, 3 more handles. We are using a lot of this. I have emails. I have probably many email accounts. I understand that data is going somewhere because we are clicking, okay, fine, yes to almost everything that we get. We are using hundreds of softwares, apps. I'm putting in a lot of data, right? So how do I make money from my own data? How does
You already
company
are.
use this?
You don't know, but you're already making money out of
Right,
your own data. And how you're doing that is with all the inputs that you're giving into your apps, or all the inputs that you're putting in your clicks and everything. That
right,
data is being analyzed by retailers, by 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 organizations, and they're offering you in discounts to what you actually like to buy.
right,
So, for
right,
example, if you are in the market for a camera, if you get it, so if you don't know where to find a camera which is discounted, you will be struggling. But what
right,
about when you wake up in the morning and you've searched for a camera last night, you wake up and you get a discount for buying a camera? That's where you just
right,
made 20% discount, means $1,000, 20% discount, you just made $200 out of your own data. And I think that's where people don't realize that they're already making money out of their own data. It's just that they're just a bit scared. Is that
right.
being too much, taken too much of into my privacy? And yep, I'm conscious of time as well. But you know what? In my view, sustainability is with all predictive analytics. It's quite happening at the moment. So if you think about this, if we were able to predict an earthquake, if you were able to predict a tsunami, how easy it would be to move a lot of people from that particular area to a different area so that you can actually save lives. I think that is amazing kind of prediction that can be done, and that's, to be honest, that's possible today, and that is happening with the kind of machines and the kind of power that we've got today. And that's simply saving lives is one thing. Talk about COVID, right? In COVID, or during the COVID times, we were able to predict a person who's likely to have a COVID, or what they call wet lungs, upfront, just by figuring out their data from their x-rays. And I've run so many live shows where I was talking to the doctors, and the doctor said, you actually don't need to go get a kind of you can find out lots out of the x-ray itself. So prediction is not only about corporate world, it's also saving a lot of lives at the moment. And that's all possible with the kind of technology and the kind of data that we've got access to. And that all of that data is readily available today, which you can use and work through.
You highlighted like actually there is a skill gap because these technologies are changing the overall, like the way of like the job that were like before, it's changing rapidly now. So there is a sort of a skill gap which needs to be addressed also. I mean, like we need to train our manpowers as soon as possible to, and at least make them aware that things are changing and they need to be well trained in this one. And so this rapidly evolving scenarios, like what we're looking at, I mean, I request Mr. Sailendra to actually highlight this more in terms of the data, that like what happens in terms of, like we already covered something like a pandemic, trade war, sometimes some of the privacy concerns that has been highlighted in the digital transformation. So your experience in the companies, what do you think, like so, I mean, Michael, I mean, you can also join, we can all join into this one. What do you feel that digital transformation in terms of these rapidly changing scenarios? What do we expect?
So let me very quickly answer that. But before I answer that question, I'll take Axel's note on that
Right.
analytics aspect of descriptive, predictive, prescriptive. That's a full chapter in my book, Making Money Out of Data, which is available free, so you guys can download it today. It's on Amazon. I think $40 worth, but you can get it free today. So please do download it. It's got a few stories as well, which will talk
Amazing
about
offer, yeah.
how predictive and descriptive is differentiated in organizations. Now, while we were talking, I think there was a message on LinkedIn where one of my old colleagues mentioned that we are very worried about privacy, but we are not worried about, and this is related to COVID and data and predictive and how privacy is being taken so protected so carefully. But what is more? The question is, what is more important, privacy or life? I think any day I'll give life more important than privacy, right? I can lose all my privacy, but as long as I'm alive, privacy will be there. Otherwise, what's the point of having a privacy? So that's the other thing. And from the perspective of people having a skill gap or people losing jobs, I don't think that's a problem either, because if you remember the second industrial revolution, when we got into cars, right, lots of those horse and the horse riders, the people who used to take horse carts around and move you from one place to another, lost their jobs. Can you find one today? No, all of them lost their jobs in early 20th century. And they all became, then taxi drivers came into play. So people will lose jobs, I know, but new jobs will be created, and those new jobs will be far, far, far more than the jobs that will be lost. And I don't know why people are worried about it, because we are all progressive, and as Axel said, that it's not a revolution, it's an evolution, and it's an evolution perfectly. We need to get to the next level. And I say that to a lot of people. I was on a panel a couple of years ago, where one guy walked onto the stage and scared everyone out, the hell out of everyone, that 70% of the jobs will disappear. And I said, okay, fine, I want to be on those 70%, so that I lose my job and create jobs for the other people, because I need to do that. And so everyone who is actually driving that agenda and bringing people backwards, people learn by themselves. My mother had never touched a mobile phone, but
Yes.
she was doing WhatsApp communication. How did she do that? Was there a school or was there a training center to go and do that? No, she all learned by herself. So people do learn, people do move on, and it is an evolution. It is not a revolution, it's an evolution, as Axel said it rightly.
I think I'll switch over to Jyoti for Jyoti. Could you just
Yes, we do have. Thank you so much, Dr. Amit. But before we there are a load of questions that our visitors and the people who are on the thing, viewers have written. However, it was very difficult and shortage of time. We've pulled out two questions for you. This is one. The first one is for Mr. Shailendra, which says, what do the current generation look forward to pursue in the terms of career opportunities? I repeat, what do the current generation look forward to pursue in terms of career opportunities? Over to you, Mr. Shailendra.
Well, my answer will be very, very biased. And the answer is that there is a huge opportunity in working around machine learning and analytics and data science, and there is a huge opportunity. But there is a problem, and that problem is that you need to work hard, you need to study more. And I give a very classic example of that from my personal life. When I was a kid in year 10, we used to, I think there are three people on this panel from India, right? So in year 10 board, we used to have statistics as a chapter. Most of the time, if you asked anyone, there was a question in the 10th board, which was a or question between the stats and the other geometry, I think. So most of the people will actually skip that question, saying, well, we'll take the other one. And those are the same people who want to now do data science. Now, that is the big problem. You need to be having a good foundation of statistical modeling, statistics, for becoming a data scientist or a machine learning individual. The problem is that you don't want to study, but you want to be there. And that's what is missing. So I would say that if you want to, this is huge. Analytics, machine learning, data science is huge, but it needs hard work. And all those people who want to actually go to that direction, want to do stuff in that space, must take their 10th class stats book, start their foundation up, and then go ahead and think about, make it. It is very exciting area. As I said, that's the brain where everything will be made for the future. So you need to be working very, very hard in that space, and that is very important. And a lot of people want to go there, but they don't want to do the hard work. It's not yet another IT project where you'll write some code and there'll be data in and a report out. It's absolutely different. And that's where the difference will come through.
That was a lot of good insight. So it's not only insight for the people who are going to be studying, it's also for the education institute, the way they need to change the way they guide their students, especially now that we're doing. I think that's a fantastic insight that you've given us, Mr. Shailendra.
One more thing on the institutions. The problem with the institutions is that they don't know what to teach either. And they're not engaging with the industry. So it's like, well, in our world, it says garbage in, garbage out. In that side of things, they're not engaging with the industry to what the industry wants. And if they don't do that, the chances are that they will be still teaching something which is very theoretical. I was in one of the sessions a few days ago, and I realized one of the ladies, one of the lecturers from a large institution was giving basic fundamentals which are never required in a corporate world. And I don't know why they even teach that. So anyways, so there needs to be a bit of bridge out there that's missing at the moment.
Mr. Shailendra Kumar, congratulations, well earned, well deserved, and it sounds Mr. Shailendra, would you like to add a few words to the Pictel family?
Yep, sure. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here with all the luminaries, all people. The group of 100 people is actually one of the lists where these guys have done some great job, and I'm really excited to see that a lot of people from who've actually delivered stuff are part of this list. Usually influencers list is very created from who you know, from what you know, but this is something very special. So thank you very much, and it's a pleasure. And I think all the people who are watching, it's being watched by a lot of people across various platforms. Thank you very much for being part of this huge, large social family that I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thanks for all your contribution. Looking forward for more editions, and personally I think I've learned a lot from these sessions. So please share the handles so that a lot more people could join in and benefit from these sessions which Pictel family has put in. And also don't forget to download the app so that you can be there and try it out for yourself, that what we are all talking